I get asked all the time by a variety of people from different backgrounds and different points of view, how can I best be involved? Particularly during a legislative session when all these bills are being talked about and I'm reading about them in the newspaper and I'm seeing them on TV. The single best way is to show up and participate in the hearings on specific bills that you're interested in.
This is a representative government, and the only way it can be representative is if those of us that have been elected to represent the people know what the people want.
I mean, ultimately, we're the representatives of the people. The people are the ones who should drive our decision making. And the only way we know that is through testimony in public hearings.
My name is Mary Beth Mayer. I come to you representing myself.
Welcome. My name is Michael Seifert. I am from Brownsville, Texas. I live 800 yards from the border.
My name is Reverend Joseph Moore, and I'm a Presbyterian pastor.
My name is Anthony Graves. I'm here representing myself, and I support the bill.
Testimony is important not only because of what is said, it allows elected officials to measure and gauge how important the issue is.
In committee testimony, the public gets to actually give information to legislators. It may seem sometimes like that information is repetitive or like the legislators aren't listening, but what you really have is you're making a record. And that record does two things. One, it imparts information to the legislature. The other thing it does is it creates accountability.
So what's the best kind of testimony that you can give? Well, actually, it's testimony that doesn't feel like testimony. It's testimony that feels like the individual, the person, the human being that our legislation is going to impact is telling us how they'll be impacted.
It's not uncommon to have written testimony in addition to what you're testifying about. But if you come and talk to me from your heart to me, not to a piece of paper or something else, that's highly effective.
About 3 years ago, we had a family of six who had taken a payday loan of about $700. They had rolled that $700 loan over 9 times at $200 a rollover with the interest and fees, and all that amounted to 740% APR.
Several years ago, my daughter, who had studied in early childhood education, and I decided to start a child care center. As entrepreneurs, we were unable to afford coverage in the private market.
I live in my own home, I live in the community, and I live with community attendants for the past 40 years. I could attend UT, get my degree in social work, and all that with the help of attendants.
You have to physically be present to obviously give verbal testimony. We don't have any kind of distance testimony at this point in time that's acceptable. You have to also physically be present to sign up to testify.
Patience is a virtue. The hearing may take for what feels like forever. We need you to be composed, patient, and able to communicate your point of view. And just be ready for a long day.
The Texas House has this neat system where you sign up using these kiosks. Some Senate committees use these kiosks as well, but some Senate committees still use paper forms. They are always on a table in the room where the hearing's located. First, I'm going to choose the hearing I'm testifying in. It's going to ask me whether I'm testifying or not, so I'm going to choose testify. Next, it's going to ask me to fill in my personal contact information. Next, it's going to ask if I want to save my information in case I want to come back and testify another time. You might not think you will ever want to do that again, but take it from me. Once you see how easy it is and how good it makes you feel, you'll want to come back. It will ask me if I'm representing a group, and I will say, no, I'm representing myself.
This issue of payday lending is obviously somewhat weighty and somewhat passionate, and so I thought I would lighten the mood a little bit and talk about the school budget crisis.
Your 3 minutes is up.
Believe it or not, I actually would like to make a connection between the two. In our congregation, we have 30-some-odd school teachers, 30-some-odd public school teachers. 3 of our church members teach at Northwest Elementary School in the Pflugerville School District. That school stands to lose for next year 4 teachers due to budget cuts. different issue, different
All right, you
committee.
better connect the dots here pretty quick.
Well, here we go. In the middle of all that, these flyers that I'm passing out showed up in the mailboxes of every teacher at that school. Hand addressed to the members, to the members of that faculty. Flyers from a local payday lending establishment were mailed to every teacher in that school, offering them fast cash.
Communicate. You know that when somebody's trying to convince you of something, that you do better and they do a better job of convincing you if they're not yelling at you. If instead they are talking to you or with you and trying to convince you.
And give us a chance to ask you some questions. That's really what you want to do is invite questions from the people on the dais up there. That's how you know you've connected with them.
That's why it's also vitally important for people who testify in committees to be constructive, to basically go in not to have a confrontation, not to vent, not to air grievances, but to engage in a public policy discussion that's a constructive public policy discussion.
Finally, the system is going to swear me in. I'll check this box acknowledging that what I say in my testimony is sworn testimony. It has a lot of legal terms, but don't be intimidated. You're going to tell your story and only the truth, so you'll be fine.
But testimony in front of a committee is I think, one of the most important things that the public can do. It's a little intimidating at first, but once you get your arms around it and understand what works and what doesn't work, it can be, a very gratifying experience. And as a legislator, I can tell you, it's incredibly important that we hear that and incorporate that into our decision making.
Because it really does make a difference when we hear that. We can actually change what we've been doing and make it better.
And the best way to have your voice heard is sitting across the table from the members of the legislature and letting them hear your voice.
Thank you very much. I'm Betsy Singleton. I'm from San Marcos.